Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Are on day number 3.
Three.
Service conference. Uh, S- Keerson, this has been literally an immersion of every dream I think that I've ever
This
had.
weekend has been so amazing. It's been transformative for me. Like, I have my little notepad next to me and I've been taking notes and I'm like, I'm going to do this and this is amazing. And I'm ready to like take what I've learned and like put it in my everyday life because I
Oh.
am amazing.
Kirsten, just hearing you say that, like it's literally what the intent of this conference was to organize Black women in a very intentional way, as intersectional. It was so funny because as we were going through yesterday, I was like, oh wait, we could have done this and we could have done this, and I should have added this because our lives are just so intersectional. There's so many issues that we navigate with, and so many pieces that we move with, and so it's like important to have conversations about all of it, and I think
Yeah.
we tried.
Yes, we were everywhere, We started talking about, you know, just Black women in general, and then we talked about, people that are incarcerated and how that affects literally every single one of us, and to legalization, and then we talked about being a good ally.
Yeah,
So I mean, wow, we've gone everywhere.
we schooled everybody. I will say, I keep wanting trying to figure out like what my favorite conversation was, and I'm like, oh yeah, the legalization. Oh yeah, but then when we talked about the kid, oh yeah, but when we talked about like each one was so special, and what made it so special, Kirsten, was all of those women are friends. Every single person, including you, that has been on this part of this conference, that offered themselves up. They're friends and colleagues and women I've admired that I still admire. And it was kind of like, that's why it felt like a little bit of a dream. I think that's my utopia. That's my heaven, is like to be in community with incredible Black folks and Black women that do incredible things, that love each other unapologetically. Um, Felt good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Felt really good. One of the things that they brought up during the Everyone Has a Story, the storytelling portion of it, was the idea of owning our own stories. And what does it look like and feel like to own our stories, own our narrative? One thing that we work at with Citizen Chi, Detangled, and 4910 is this idea of narrative reconstruction. This idea that the stories that they tell about us, the way they tell the stories about us, are not the stories that we have to accept, that
Yes.
we can restructure and reimagine. And when people ask who our audience is, we say, our people. When we're doing this organized work, it is our people that, we want to give joy and goodness. And the one thing I appreciated that was talked about was when we do our storytelling, we can, it's not this struggle porn, right? It's
Right.
not like, throwing all the crap and the crazy. It's actually a celebration of everything good that we are, a celebration of our ancestors, a celebration of our babies, a celebration of, all the good, and a desire to reflect that there's some shit out there.
Yeah.
And absent the shit, we be in all kinds of glory, right?
Because if we don't tell our stories, then our stories aren't going to be told correctly,
That's
And to me, with like Hollywood and things like that, it seems like they only want to tell the bad. They only want to tell the trauma porn of it. And so to see, we have so many women and men out there that are like, I'm trying to tell our
right.
stories our way.
That's
And
right.
that's amazing.
And speaking of owning and telling our stories our way, um, I have an incredible sister that you all are going to get to rock with today. Charm Taylor is a gift to this city, a gift to this state, a gift to this country, and a gift to this world. Because she understands how to take entertainment and let me tell you, y'all about to rock. I'm just let y'all know. Get y'all dancing shoes on. Get y'all shit together because this is about to be an early morning party. I mean, we talked about, because you and I talked about Super Sunday is today. It is an incredible moment in the city. We're going to go out and see this beauty and all these masked Indians being like, pretty and all of that. And so we're going to get this party started. But Charm is more than an entertainer. She makes you think. Her music gets into your spirit and your soul. So when you're dancing, you're also dancing movement, and you're also dancing joy, and you're also dancing resistance, and you're also like believing that you are better, that we can all collectively be better than where we are. Like you dance into the future, into the dream. That's why I'm wearing my Charm Taylor She Is the Future shirt, because she is the future, which is the name of her latest album. So without further ado, y'all get ready to rock out to the incomparable Charm Taylor.
Peace and power, family. I am Charm Taylor. I'm grateful to be called in to close out by Fireside, the Strengthening Our Roots Conference. I want to open up by very intentionally giving thanks for our ancestors, all of the warrior women and goddesses of good energy, all of those who have been grounded in the knowing that what is in front of us is most certainly better, more just, and more livable than what has been behind us. I am grateful for all of my mothers and their mothers, and all of my fathers and their fathers, past, present, and future. And grateful for all those who are on the side of the land of the living, choosing life, choosing to do the work, the righteous work, with joy and persistence. I'm grateful for the women who hold up our skies. Ashe. From my album, She Is the Future, this is Crown.
A gift from above. I did it for love. I already did it for fun. I already did it because, look, I made some mistakes, it raised the stakes. I had my firstborn, I did it for cake. I'm coming for number one, like I know I'm the one. Look, I'ma wear my crown, son. I'ma wear my crown, love. Mama's got a kingdom. I'ma wear my crown, son. I'ma wear my crown, son. I'ma wear my crown, love. Mama's got a kingdom. I'ma wear my crown, look. My God said I'm chosen. My neck, my wrist is frozen. Now all the circles closing. I only run with my day ones by the house in the hills. And I'm done paying bills. I ain't done till I leave landies in my will. Think I won't, but I will. Unafraid of your leader. Got some shouts. I could feed them plenty tanks if I need them. Ain't no snakes in this grass. But the last season we didn't think they for you. Don't believe them, bitch. I'm here for a reason. Look, I just came through to make sure the check's clear. I just came through to make sure the money's here. Statements on statements on statements when I appear like Queen Charm, moving with no strings, no fear. Like I'ma wear my crown, son. I'ma wear your crown, love. Mama's got a kingdom. forever, baby. Been talismanic since the transatlantic. From slave ships to spaceships, tell them I have landed. There's a few seats way in the back, though. If you can't stand it, you ain't never really know me. If you only knew to rock and roll me, if you just met the future soul me, and your heart with the hood glow me. I don't know you, so don't come for me. Got some young boys and they'll buck for me. Keep my own wines, write my own rhymes. I ain't got time to keep company. Look, I just came through to make sure the check's clear. They did. I just came through to make sure the money's here. Statements on statements on statements when I appear. Queen charm moving with no strings, no fix your crown. I'ma wear my crown, son. I'ma wear my crown. Look, mama's got a kingdom. Go on, wear your crown, son. I'ma wear my crown, son. I'ma wear your crown. Look, mama's got a kingdom. I'ma wear my crown. Look, I'm Kundalini meets Main Street. The back straight from concrete. With your faith deep mystery over fat beat. With your heart pure. With your intentions and impact felt. And that's really, you know, united because they reaching. Restored. Protected. Divinely protected. Come through and come from. With your certainty. With your strategy. To my core, this is how I feel. With your best energy. You shine from the inside out. You radiate power and purpose. You know, to go further, to go harder towards my destiny. It is destined for me. I live this queen. We are better because this is really who I am. This is the promise. And this is not the first time. This is the victory that is already ours. My descendants and my ancestors all the time. You are a light in the dark. Wear your crown. I am Charm Taylor. And she is the future. New Orleans, it's March 20th, and that means that we're marching through the streets right now with the legacy of the Black masking Indians. It's Super Sunday. I was gifted this feather by Big Chief Honey Ivan Bannister, who's featured on this song, Firewater, from my album, She is the Future.
Don't you hear him yelling fire over there? Don't you hear it? Don't you feel it? They yelling fire over there and it burns.
I met a man in the market. He called me Isatu. And a man on the street called me Charm the Chief. I said, what that mean? He said, she who is the leader, real truth teller, real truth seeker. You can't keep up if you chasing two-seaters. Watch me bring it back to the black. I'ma need a parking lot, no meters, we got lanes to pass. I was summoned for the dope boys on your campuses, and I am someone from the temples. We the ones with the math, and the whole hood with me. Snap means we got nations building when I pass down. They come to expect that piff. I'm light years away from bullshit, and we done worked on it, been patient. And this is for the ones in the jungles, been waiting. Look, this is for the ones in the swamps, been stationed. And this is every word carved in purpose. I'm ducking desires and drones. I got disappearing acts for the clones and they cronies, like train coming. Like I see why old souls smoked a lot of ganja now, then and now. I came with that underground Harriet sound. Man, no, she won't bow down. Then I now. It's that underground Harriet sound. Man, no, I won't bow down. Then I now. Gee. They yelling fire. They yelling fire. Don't you hear it? Can't you feel it?
fire, water, know you hear it.
They on the fire over there. They on the fire.
Do it for the ones that came before you and come after you. Buy a few buildings up, make sure them bitches bulletproof. Rasta man saying, go and shut down Babylon. Can't break bread with you till I know what side you're on. This is underground, this is underdog, this is lies a drum. Say we are marching on, we are marching on. Well, this is underground, this is underdog, and this is our song. And look at them flames flying in the sky. I ain't never shoot flames.
Build for the children. Rise up,
Shooting up that high.
indigenous spirits of this land. It's time to take over. Burn down Babylon. Reach for the stars.
Everything
Move forward in love.
and anything
strength,
good is
positivity.
possible.
Never bow. Never bow. Never bow. Rise up. Kings and queens.
Build your kingdoms now.
Say yeah, yeah.
That's my daughter Mecca's voice. This song is the soundtrack for the movement into the future with wisdom from the past and mindfulness of the present. It is called The Path, and it's on my album, She is the Future, produced by Saint Amethyst. From right where you are.
Olutito, I'm on a cone.
Snap your hands.
Olutito,
Clap your fingers.
I'm on a pony. Olutito, I'm on a pony. Olutito,
Leave your chairs.
I'm on a pony.
Turn the sound up.
And this is gonna be very proud. It's very loud. It's negative, really. So
Don't miss a beat. Don't miss a moment. Live in the moment. Bring your past forward. Live in the future. The present you are, it live forever. Rise together. Go be a legend. Love makes it better. Life. Look, I'm living my life. Give me that thunder. Give me that lightning. The beat come right in. You recognize it. I'm a love cry. I'm a sweet voice. I'm a fire for the. Coming for the. He gave birth again. I gave birth again. We left and they kept on living life. I'm living my life. I'm a mother before I am your wife or your labor. Get the paper, said I keep it divine. I hope you concentrating. This here your motivation. I know that you've been waiting. This here that inspiration life. Saint, pray me a beat, pray it pure heat. Make it holy, tribal, haunt them ghostly. Make it sound like circle dance. Make it godly. Mound builders, pyramids. Some are elevation, some Bruce Lee. Higher.
Some Bruce Lee.
Higher, higher.
Bruce Lee.
Reach higher.
Some Bruce Lee.
Higher, higher. Go. Reach higher. Some Bruce Lee. Bro, go higher.
Bruce Lee.
I saw the path. It was laid here right before me. I saw the bag. It was labeled here for me. My ancestors, they labored here before me. Before me. Before me. Before me, I'm a movement, not a moment. I got powers and I own them. You got real friends, you should phone them. They want favors, we don't owe them. My flavor, that's a bonus. Check the balance for the bonus. Pussy potent, hocus pocus. Woke up early and I'm focused. You look worried, that's emotion. Wouldn't put that plan in motion. I'm shea butter, face lotion. Green teams, custom, Christines, blessings. Gold trimmings, call it Christmas. I want platinum, I want vintage. I'm taking roses, windows tinted. Presidential and expensive. Rich fabrics, luxe dealings, black floors, up city and high ceilings. Live forever, my Lord. Saint, pray me a beat, pray it pure heat. Holy tribal, ghostly, godly elevation. Y'all, some Bruce Lee. Higher,
Bruce Lee.
higher, higher, go. Higher,
Bruce Lee.
higher, higher, go. Reach higher,
Bruce Lee.
higher, higher, go. Reach higher.
Bruce Lee.
We never pour when you pour in our cups. Don't want the less, we want more. The most, the victory toast. Last. My old
Orishas, they adore me. I sit at their laps. We are getting closer, aren't we? We outlived all of their armies. Oh, salute my Ori, salute your Ori, and tell your story. Don't let them tell you it's TV, but too fast. I can't slow down, cause they sleep, nine naps, never fall into their traps. I saw the path, I saw the path. It was laid here right before me. I saw the bag, it was labeled here for me. My ancestors, they labored here before me. Before me. Before me. Before me. Go, go, go. And we're right with you. Every step of the way. With intentionality. Praying for you daily. We have so far to go, and we're already victorious. Ashe.
Charm!
Yes.
Hi. Hey. Oh.
Hi.
Charm, you're on mute right now, my love. But these babies, let me tell you something. Charm is not just this phenomenal artist, this phenomenal, thought-provoking artist. She's an incredible mama. And like these babies, like when I tell you their hearts, I mean, you can tell the kind of house that they're raised in because, yeah, babies rock. And I'm going to see you later, too.
See you later.
See you later, Nia. Hi, Keerson.
Hi.
Power.
Yes. I love him so much. Charm, you warmed my heart yesterday.
That's my son, Malcolm Raheem, the Rising King.
I love it. Malcolm Megan. I was like, these babies are incredible. Charm, you are. That was, when we were like conceptualizing what we were going to do for Sunday, I was like, I want to start the day off with like gospel music and like, bring that kind of fire. And let me tell y'all, Mardi Gras Day, I'm randomly, I'm at Magnolia Yoga Studio, doing, that's where we go for Mardi Gras. And we went to back of town, and I walk in, and I see my beautiful friend with this great black tutu and these beautiful babies dressed like ready for Mardi Gras. And I was like, Charm. And then it hit me. I said, you know who I need? I need Charm. And we entered into a conversation. Charm was like giving me her music. And Charm, your music is so forward thinking because it's entertaining, but it is highly thought-provoking when it comes to the issues that we're navigating as Black women. Like, I don't even know the first question I want to ask, but I know, like, how does your brain work? Like, how do we get that like infusion of art and entertainment and activism? Like, how do we get there with you?
First of all, thank you so very much for the sweet, and very, very honored to be introduced and be, thought of in that way. My daughter is here, and Mecca, say hi. Mecca's feeling a bit humbuggish because she says she wants lipstick too.
Oh,
so we're going to solve that problem. Go get the lipstick out the bath. It's right on the counter in the bathroom.
Hey, Mecca.
I am a reflection. I'm your reflection, Nia. I'm your reflection, Keerson. I think that I've surrendered. That's what it is. I've surrendered to my highest will. I've surrendered to the will of my ancestors, my most benevolent, loving, very positive, very resisting, very joyful, very radical ancestors. Our collective and my family one, Maria is the matriarch of my family. And when she transitioned, after having 13 children and lived to be, 97, she stayed with us till 97. Right after her homegoing, in St. Louis, Missouri, where I was born. I've been in New Orleans for 15 years. I was born in St. Louis. And I'm thinking about a woman now who has whose family moved from the Delta right after slavery, right, to a new form of slavery, sharecropping. So they move out of the Delta, Doki and Florence and my matriarch, and they move to Cotton Plant, Arkansas, right? And then at 14, y'all, 14, she leaves Cotton Plant, Arkansas, and she takes this journey to St. Louis, Missouri. And she has 13 children there, one of them being my grandmother, Samella. And I have Ella's on both of my sides. So I have Sam Ella, and my dad's mother was an Ella mate. But these are the women. This for me, you got to be full of fire and passion to have 13 children in this America. And very pretty, very good, very good, very pretty. That's Mecca's lipstick was a hit.
I love it.
I don't know what the counter looks like, but you want to sit down now? Okay.
Oh, we love. Oh, hi, Mecca.
Oh, look at that lipstick.
You look gorgeous, girl. You got it. You got it.
So, she gets to St. Louis and she has 13 children, and she's living in the Pruitt-Igoe housing projects.
Yeah, my belly, mommy.
And she has 13 children, and she's living in this Pruitt-Igoe project, which, by the way, our America sprayed with cadmium and poisons. So if you haven't watched the Pruitt-Igoe myth, please watch that documentary. Tells the story of the Pruitt-Igoe project. And my family, on my mother's side, came out of there. So very fiery, very passionate. Muddy is what we call her. Lil Mama is what everybody else called her. And so, I'm Lil Mama's great granddaughter. And I'm in a place of surrender and understanding that all of my work henceforth is a soul assignment, and I have to be where they need me to be. Yeah.
Right. That's right. So, Charm, I have to tell you, and the journey that you and I have gotten from Mardi Gras Day to today has been so divinely inspired. And the reality is the ancestors have literally, Keerson, the ancestors brought this together. So you just said something that just confirmed to me so many pieces of this. So backstage, Damian D. Smith has been running this whole thing. He's been on here for like 13 hours now, moving all this up. And he is also from St. Louis. And his grandmother grew up in the Pruitt-Igoe housing development. And wait, I'm going to go one step further. What you just talked about with the chemical spray testing, Damien just won a best documentary at a film festival in New York, and was screened in a film festival in St. Louis it's called Target St. Louis Volume 1, about the chemical spraying that happened at the Pruitt-Igoe housing development. And so, and we have been sitting there talking for quite some time about doing projects and programs with young people in New Orleans and St. Louis, and really intentionally bringing these two cities together, and really thinking about what your grandmother and his grandmother in St. Louis and what my grandmother in New Orleans have wanted. So this is about, we said that this was the beginning of something incredible, but the ancestors, just knew. They knew. And we just keep getting these reaffirmations. So I'm just, you just opened a whole nother space for me. And oh man, this is everything. Oh, Charm.
That's deep.
That's deep.
That's deep. And that's what I mean. The surrender, the not knowing, the deep surrender. Let them use you. Follow your heart space. Follow that thing that's this is the thing that I care about so much. I can't shake it. I can't. And that's how I feel about the liberation and elevation of my people. And so I try to be where I need to be for only amount of time I need to be, whether that's, building up some schools. I've done that a couple seasons. And then just to hear you talk about Damien. So fun fact, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, that's her. She came out of the Puerto. That's my grandmother's sister. That's my great aunt. And so just a legacy of women who said, no,
That's
no,
right.
thank you.
That's
No,
right.
thank you. Or she's famous for saying now reclaiming my time. And I feel that way now, reclaiming my time, reclaiming our resources, reclaiming, our wealth expansively. That's, financial, emotional, creative, and otherwise, So
I love
that
it.
would be my short answer is such.
Yes.
And
Okay,
I
y'all
love
about to see
music.
some stuff. Y'all about to see some Nia Charm stuff. And I would say also Keerson Charm is like literally has been a charm to me. She was a charm to me in Austin at South by Southwest when she saved me in Austin. Charm, can you tell us, because your latest album, She Is the Future, I'm wearing my She. This is what I'm wearing today on Super Sunday. So when y'all come check me out, I got my She Is the Future, and I got my earrings I got from New York, from a Singhalese store in New York. So I'm in all my Black female glory, supporting Black female businesses as well. But Charm, can you tell us what was the vision behind She Is the Future?
Well, I wanted us. Here's what I know. I know that life is difficult. Has been difficult. I know that there's ebb and there's flow. And what I know deeply is, just our lived experience, our shared lived experience. But what I also know is that our role, our task, our spiritual assignment is to both be present, right? To engage in Sankofa, our past.
That's right.
Right? And also to paint a more just, more beautiful, more equitable future. So that's why it's difficult. Like if you think about your day to day, how often are you reflecting on yesterday, being present now, and then also trying to see 2 months in advance or tomorrow, right? That's actually our human divine magic dance that we're doing. So the future is wanting to have that conversation to say that these are all of the women I've been. Yeah. Right. So I started making this album before I had the children. I started writing this album.
Really?
And then in the moment that I thought I'm going to release this album, I'm about to start, I traveled to Miami, to Art Basel, and activated a space there with Welcome to the Afrofuture, Big Love and Bright Love to the matriarch Gia Hamilton.
Yes.
And, I was like, I brought my team with me, and I'm like, we're doing this. And I got pregnant with Mecca. So I was like, God.
That's what happened at that Art Basel.
Well, shortly thereafter.
Gotcha. That was the New Orleans Art Basel. I'm sorry. What y'all was doing that.
I came back with a lot of Yemaja energy from the beach, and I was a little mermaid. But so I was very present in that present moment, realized that this would have to be a future project, that this would have to be, that there were more things, more stories, more messages, more downloads from spirit, more experiences that I need to have that would really make this project, speak volumes to women, to mothers, to other matriarchs, to myself, past, present, future. So I didn't want to hear the album and think, oh, I no longer feel that way. It just sort of land there. I wanted to say, I remember her. I remember what I felt like when I wrote that song. I remember what I was going through when I wrote that song. I remember what wisdom I was attaining, what lessons I was learning, what I had to say. One moment, please, Malcolm. And when I had Malcolm, he was a reminder of what I had chosen to do in. There goes my red lipstick.
I love it.
And there. Can I finish? Thank you. So he was a reminder of what I had chosen. He would sing when I was playing back, the demos and the things that I was working on. He would start to know the words, and he would be like, "Mommy, sing," or he would sing and rap. And beautiful. You guys look so beautiful. A mess, but a beautiful mess. So
I love this. I'm going to say this, Charm, and I know that Charm was talking to the kids and stuff, but Keerson, I went through law school with 4 kids, and I've navigated most of my legal career as a single parent. And so I was the one, a couple of times I thought I could Michelle Obama my workspace. And so I go to interviews with the kids in tow, I'm saying? I'm like, this is what you get. And so many times, I don't think that there's a judge in this city in civil court or criminal court that had me in their courtroom that didn't have one of my children under their bench eating snacks. I would stroll them in. I'm like, you can have your assistant, law clerk. I don't know, but this me, and they are me, and we are part of this. So watching you do this is also like another kindred space, because I know exactly. I know every piece. I know where the snacks are going underneath. I know that, okay, I'm doing this on the side, and then just being like, okay, I'm gonna mute this, and like, y'all need to be like, I've been there and I'm still there, and it's a beautiful space to bring your babies along with you.
It holds us. It's holding. Yeah. I one of my most recent community projects was to be a part of the founding of a school called the Living School in New Orleans.
Yes.
And I've transitioned just a couple. Last week was my last week. I transitioned out of my role after the 3 years of building it up, and feeling like we're in a good space. But I used to bring Mecca. I wrapped Mecca, and I brought Mecca with me every single day.
I love it. No worries. And it's like, Keerson, when we talk about like the intersectionality in the space that we hold, and the reality is that we can have it all, and that's part of the future thinking for Black women. When we talk about she is the future, and we talk with the women of Wakanda, Charm, yesterday, and that's was part of one of the last things that we had done yesterday was the women of Wakanda. We've been, you and I were at Austin for South by Southwest, which apparently they're trying to build a whole nother metaverse without us. And so, it's like, we got to show up. But, just most of the people that were there that were not white men or were Black women, and Black women from New Orleans. A lot of us were there. Sabrina Short was there, thinking about, this Afrofuturistic space with Black women leading at the helm in so many incredible ways is, oh man, it is so loving and comforting. Yes. And I will be honest with you, Charm. I think that I have a new favorite t-shirt. I think I have a new favorite motto in life. I know, because Kim and I were rocking. I don't think Charm gave me the film, I'm gonna call it the short yesterday night. I put it in my computer. I was rocking. Then Cammie started rocking, and this morning we were rocking to it. And Cammie said, "This is my playlist before I go to school. This is the armor to put on to give us what we need." And it's futuristic thought infused with the drum beats, infused with the, honoring of our ancestors, the imagining of who we're going to be, the honoring of who we are, because we some dope shit right now, you know what I'm saying? We good enough right here, you know what I'm saying? This is dope. The crap is the what outside imparts on us. That's the crap. crap is not us. The beauty is us. You know, all the Black women that were part of this conference, Charm, and you know, and there were elders, you know, who have been doing this work for decades. There were babies that, you know, your babies are here. You know, the fact that Mecca is here, the fact that Mecca and Malcolm, and that their names are Mecca and Malcolm, are here, you know, as part of this whole universe that we've built for ourselves. You know, Black folks built this world this weekend for ourselves, which shows that when we are at our best,
we can change.
Yeah.
We can change lives.
That's
change
right.
worlds, you know?
And we can change our lives and worlds. And so often we take on the responsibility of changing the world for everybody else. But the reality is that we can change the world for ourselves.
Yes.
And they work in tandem, right? So that was the thing, is like I could listen to the album and be like, I remember when this thing was happening in my world. Here's what I said no thank you to. Here's what I said yes to. Here's what I'm allowing. Here's what I'm calling in. Here's what I'm co-creating, right? Here's what I'm surrendering to. Here's what I'm releasing. Here's what I'm purging. All of that in action is happening in tandem with the experiences that we're having outside of ourselves, right? Yes. So I can look like, oh, here are all of the cycles that I'm breaking in my own lineage.
That's right.
Right. Here are the ways that I am saying no to, you know, these things that have sort of cursed my lineage. Here are the things that I'm building anew and figuring out differently. And I think it's that moment of it was broken and we fixed it, that's the future. But I truly do believe that we have the insight.
That's right.
We have the hindsight, right? We have the retrospective to be able to say, here's what we need to do. Here's what we need to restore.
That's right.
And it's not simple. I think once we know as a part of humanity that this is not easy work, but it's work that we're committed to and that we're going to do it with ease. We can do it with ease once we could be committed to the knowing that it's not easy.
That's right.
It's complicated, and that it's going to take all of us.
That's right.
In our roles, in our lanes, and knowing when to link with one another and sync with one another and align and realign.
That's
so
right.
The album is about that. The album is a time travel. It's a new future timeline. It sort of pushes us, you know, in all of those three spaces. And it is a call to action, but it's also me having a conversation with our collective and saying, hey, I know you're doing the work. I see you.
That's right.
This is your motivation. This is your soundtrack. I am your ally. I am in solidarity with you. Press play, focus, turn it up, you know, and quiet the noise and keep going, keep drumming because we need you.
Yes.
Yeah. And we need you well. We don't need you burnt out. So there's moments in the record where I'm affirming that. Take rest. Oh, rest is liberation.
That's right. Yes.
Restore. Right. And that actually came from Sonia Sanchez. When Sonia Sanchez came here as the grand griot of Ma'afa a couple years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
15 or 16.
That's right.
She said she was speaking about the Black arts movement, which is a huge inspiration for me. So that's another part of my surrender, is to say that, you know, we use this voice. We have to use this voice.
That's right.
And it has to be about what my people need, want, desire, love, all of that.
That's right.
And Sonia said, you know, we were doing this thing in the Black arts movement where we were socially conscious. We were using our social magic, as Gia would say. We were hyper political, conscious, and radical, and liberated and free. But we were tired and we were burnt out, and they were killing us. And, you know, we were losing our minds.
Right.
And she said, what I love about this generation and this time is that I get to witness this movement that is simultaneously about our liberation is tied to our longevity and our care. So she's like, I love hearing the self-care movement. All of this generation is self-care. She's like, I had never heard that coming up. in doing this work. We were told, fight, 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 fight. And then, you look up and, the children of these, amazingly prolific and essential liberationists and political activists and musicians who were tied to this movement and artivism, they were dying and they were tiring out. Their families were broken. So it's like, we can't leave each other broken. You have to hold each other accountable and say, hey, Keerson, it's been a few days. Tap out, or let's plan an activity that's about a retreat or restoration. Let's build in this way, right? And nobody's gonna feel away if you are gone from the movement. That realizing that your restoration is a part of the movement. Mm-hmm. And so that was Sonia Sanchez. She gave us that. The mantra that she gave us that year in Ma'afa was breathe and resist.
Yes.
Breathe and resist.
Oh.
And I just talk about a t-shirt in my mind. That's it right there for me.
That's it.
So it gave me something that I needed, having worked years and years and years in service, in education, in the arts, in the healing spaces, to say, and what about you, John? What are you restoring yourself? Not, seasonally, right, but daily. And what does that look like? Can you make more space for ease? Can you make more space for rest? Can you make more space?
Right.
And so, yeah, that's where we are. This is an amazing thing that you all have accomplished, though, these last couple of days, getting us all together, hearing. I told Nia, y'all, that we're like, Black women are like the tentacles of our hair are like politics, mental health,
that's right.
Social justice.
That's right.
Parenting, motherhood. we're all over. We are everywhere. We have to be.
That's right.
We have to be everywhere, and we're doing it. Like our capacity is as strong as our network, right?
That's
so
right.
I can't solve it all by myself, but if I have a Nia and a Keerson and a Sabrina and everybody who's tuning in or will see this, that's how we do it. So
how we do it. That's exactly how we do it. Keerson, I want to ask you, because Keerson's rocking with us in Alabama. She's in Birmingham, right? Keerson, are you going to be rocking what she is in the future in Birmingham? Because we talk about a Southern strategy across board and the connectivity that we have across board. Are you going to be is Birmingham going to be rocking in the future?
Yes, we ready to go. We have so many movers and shakers here that I would love to bring to the tribe. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what it is. We've got branches,
Yes.
branches all over the place. And Keerson, it's been such a pleasure doing this with you this weekend. Because we are a community of people, a community of Black folks, community of Black women all over the place. Charm, I'm going to ask you one last question, and then I know you got to get the babies ready so you can come over here. Because if y'all go see me and Charm and the babies Super Sunday, we about to get this one rocking. But Charm, you have given so many words of wisdom. You've given us music. You've infused all of that into our spirits. But I'm going to ask you the question that I ask everybody at the end of this. Your message to Black women and girls out there that are, especially the ones that aren't told that they are the future, the ones that aren't loved as if they are the future. What do we say to them?
I say it on the path, the last song that I performed. So I'll just restate those lyrics, right? Because that's what I want you to internalize, right? Don't miss a beat. Don't miss a moment. Live in the moment. Bring your past forward. Live in the future. The present, you are it. Live forever. Rise together. You gonna be a legend. Love makes it better. Life, sis. Live your life.
Ashe.
And for me, it's about that wholeness, that fullness, our entirety. Don't play small. Look at the sky. It's big. This is a big God. This is a big universe. This is a big galaxy. You come from big, long longevity, expansiveness, right? And so we just tapping into that. Be that. Be that. Be right at the space between divinely confident and divinely, humble. And that divine confidence and that divine humility, it offers you the balance that you need to know that you're here for a reason.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're part of something real big.
You're part of something real big. Charm, thank you.
Thank you.
I honor you and honor everything that you are. Honor those babies and everything that they are. Gratitude to your ancestors, and I will see you in a little bit.
See you soon. Thank y'all so much. Please.
Thank
You
you.
can keep in touch with me at Miss Charm Taylor.
Yes.
Or Charm Taylor is the future on Instagram. If you're on Twitter, it's at Charm Like Magic. The album is She Is the Future. If you're in the metaverse, if you're in Web3, I'm minting on the blockchain. I don't want the South to be left behind. The South will not be left behind. Peace.
Wait. Also, Charm, where can they get this shirt? Can they get this shirt?
Oh, okay, so usually it's for live shows, performances. I should put it up on my site, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
after I buy you out, because I'm buying her out, just so y'all know.
Okay.
I have FOMO that I don't have a shirt. Like now I need to buy a shirt.
No FOMO. If
Hold
you
on.
follow me on Instagram or Twitter, the moment I put them on charmtaylor.space.io, you will know.
Yes.
All right. Peace.
Love you. Bye.
So much.
That was everything. Charm's performance, Charm's persona, that conversation, Keerson, that was everything.
Yes, I'm obsessed. I literally, while she was performing, I was like liking all of the songs on Spotify. I'm like, I gotta get her out there.
That's right. It's like I said, Kim and I, it's gonna be our morning playlist. We're gonna rock out. We're gonna be in the future, but like so much more. I hope everyone picked up on all the pieces that she was talking about when she was talking about the metaverse and when she was talking about Bitcoin and all of that. Like really thinking about a futuristic space. We were talking about the women of Wakanda and imagining a place where we can live free and unapologetically. When we talk about all of these pieces that are being put together as we build a new paradigm, build a new world, like it really is a futuristic space for all of us as Black folks, as Black women. This is just is everything. So that was just that was dope. That was dope. Okay, so moving on to how we get there, right? We are still in Louisiana's legislative session, 60 days in, and we already have a week past, so we have less than 60 days left to be in this bug. And so I want to make sure everyone is well equipped because we have the knowledge, we have the training, but like, what do we do now, right? And then how do I make sure that everything that we did this weekend, and everything that we understood and learned this weekend, we have a place to hold it and go back to and refer back. So what we have done is we have put together a legislative and voter guide. And I think it's dope because, sometimes, I can make things dope. Damien is like our creative director. And so all the creative, like pretty things, including like this beautiful Strengthening Our Roots logo, that's him. But every once in a while, I dip my toe in and make things. And so we have this really dope legislative guide, Strengthening Our Roots. It's going to be, it is digital too, Keerson.
Yes.
So when we send the link, you can have it on your phone. And if we're going to flip through it, just show you a couple of pages on, what is there. It's a letter to Black women, and then we have all this dope information. The information that Candace was talking about, Representative Newell was talking about during our first session on yesterday. It's all in here. So we'll flip through it. You can find out, how to it's clickable links in here too. So you can find out how to contact all of the legislators. Just click the link. You can find out how a bill becomes law and remind yourself of what all that is. And so we have all the information that you need in order to understand how to move through the legislature. You're like, oh man, like I know they were talking about, testifying, but what is that like? That's in here. How to attend the committee meeting, the green card, the red card, explain to you why, so you don't have to feel like you're going empty-handed. You're going with a map. Navigating the map. We've got, our big thing is educating people about the Crown Act and getting, information about why that is, because that is the only piece of policy that's being asked that's specifically about Black women. Dr. Wendy Green is actually the author of the Crown Act. When I say that, it is her thought. She was a student here at Xavier University, and it was her thoughts on what. So she is in here as well. And then we've got all of our shorts. These are New Orleanians and people from across Louisiana telling their stories about why. And so there's 3 films. One is The Cost of Our Hair, talking about, and there's fact sheets that go with it. I learned to love my hair. Fact sheets to go with it, discussion questions. And so if you are an ally and you're like, I don't know how to talk about this, you can get with your people, watch one of the films or all 3, if you so choose. I think you should watch all 3 plus the long one, and have these discussions and answer these questions about, how to show up as a good ally in the space that we're asking you to. And so as we go through it, we talked about so many different issues with and for Black women that we navigate. And so included in here, we're going to go right on through. There's a viewing the film and the discussion guides, detangling the vote. These are all the links that you all, information you need to know about where to vote, when to vote, how to register to vote. The fact that people who are incarcerated, what that looks like, currently and formerly incarcerated, where you can vote. Poll workers have been at the center of our civic engagement when it comes to voter engagement, and they are the gurus of knowledge. And so we have a film about them. And so you can learn everything you need to know about that. Reproductive justice, sister song. It's where we sit at the intersection of race and gender. And so we have a bunch of information just to give all of us a baseline of understanding. Sister Song is an organization in Atlanta, Georgia, run by Black femmes and women. And, it's just an incredible space. And so give us a baseline understanding of what reproductive justice is and why, we have to collectively understand, what it means to take care of our bodies, ourselves, and all those pieces that we navigate with. As we keep going through the book. So I did a podcast not too long ago with a local organization. It was funded by Packard. Also, shout out to Packard, who made sure that this conference could happen. Shout out to Black Voters Matter. Miss Foundation make sure this conference can happen. Kellogg Foundation who also made sure this conference can happen. But this is the point. Each episode is different. We have 2 on talking about gender pronouns. And how to be respectful when it comes to gender pronouns. Big Frida was my very first interview. So my interview with Big Frida is in here. Also Jodie Patterson, my interview with her. We also have a conversation on teenage pregnancy. Let me tell you something about this interview. Irma Thomas and Dr. Denise Shervington. That interview is a love letter to Black women and girls around teenage pregnancy. And I'm going to leave it there, but I have stepped out of that conversation and they have stepped in. Then we've got fact sheets, right? Just so we can get information. We have information on domestic violence and Black women because that, it's something we don't really talk about. And there's fact sheets. And so when the bills are coming up and you want to inform yourself and be able to inform policymakers, because let's remember Representative Newell said, they don't know the numbers, but they need to know the information, right? And so to help equip you with the information to subjugate your own personal experience, there you go. So we have information on criminal justice and Black women and girls. When we have those conversations about it, and all of these things, you can click them. Some of them are films, some of them are shorts, some of them are quick podcast information that we've done. This is actually also a culmination of all the work that we've done. I will tell you, working with, I call it the collaborative with Citizen She, 4910 Rosalie Productions, and Detangled. And so this is a combination of all of that work. But also, fact sheets about why criminal justice and Black women and girls, what are the statistics? I know I have this experience, but what are the statistics? What are the numbers? What's the research behind it? Right here in this book. Keep going. We also have, lots of information on criminal justice on Black women and girls. Lots of information. And then healthcare, right? we don't take care of and this is not just physical health care. The information in here is also includes our mental health as well. And Dr. Joya Cryer Perry, who's a dear friend and just brilliant Black woman, that she has. We have a film with her information on it. We have a podcast with Dr. Lauren Taberbaum that we did when we did She Shows Up. It's a podcast that we used to do. They're about to turn into a show, but that's another thing. But she's on here, so you can rehear what she had to talk about with that podcast. And so keep going through the healthcare. Next is education. That is my daughter, Peyton. And her beautiful image. She's a brilliant student and done some incredible work. She's actually participating in the Aspen Challenge right now, trying to solve a community issue. So you're going to be hearing from Peyton pretty soon on her project because it's a big one. And she's trying to organize around some really intentional things. Again, we have our She Shows Up podcast. And so, Standing in Our Power around education was a film, one of the first films that we did. There's Louisiana State specific, information on education. There's also non-Louisiana State specific information on here. And then economic empowerment. Economic disenfranchisement is like at the top of the list of the things that, harm us. And so we have lots of information, more than just equal pay. We talked with Michelle Craig yesterday, and here's my podcast with Michelle when She Shows Up. So really excited about that. Fact sheets, we know we have the highest wage gap, but what does that mean? And so all that information is included in here. And that is the end. Now, if we click the icon that has like the lines on it right here in the right-hand corner at the bottom of the fact sheet, over, bottom right-hand, over a little bit more, over a little bit more. There's like a magnifying glass, there's something else, and there's like 3 lines. There we go, right there, yep. Click that one. I think it's that one. It should be. It's something that has 3 lines on it. Maybe. But it should be when you get the brochure, the legislative guide. It actually has a line, and if you just want to go real quick to information on education, you can click it and it'll just take you there. So you don't have to flip through the whole book to get where you want to go. You can just click it and it takes you right where you got to go. So really excited to have this guide, really excited to be able to get that. And so we'll be dropping that on all of our sites. We'll be sending out an email with the legislative guide so everyone can have it. And so that'll be a way to take everything that we've learned and everything that we've organized over this weekend and move it into real life and real practice.
Yes, it's good to have this like arsenal, like that's handheld. You can put it on your phone, or you can, have it on your computer screen that's right in front of you and accessible,
That's right. We got to make it easy. Got to recognize where we are and make it as easy as possible. And speaking of recognizing where we are, one of the things that, we're really proud of that we were able to do a couple of years ago, we had decided that Black women's hair was an easy thing not easy thing, but it just made sense to organize Black women around. That we, we focus on issue, but the reality is Black women are not a monolith. And so organizing us around each issue, as you heard, everybody, even within the same topic, had different feelings, experience, thoughts, and ideas around it. And organizing around a specific issue, it's just, it's a lot. And we really got to dive deeply in. But one thing that we all agree on, Keerson, we all got a hair story.
Yes.
We all have a hair story. And, and really, my youngest daughter had, a few hairs that she had locks like mine, and we're navigating through, together with hair. And we realized that the connectivity that we have with our hair stories surpasses age, geography, presentation. Keerson, you have a hair story. I know you got a hair story.
Oh my gosh, yes. I played sports my entire life. I was natural. I used to have long, flowy, natural hair. And then one day I was like, Mommy, I want a perm. So I got a perm, and then my hair fell out. And so it's been a journey of rediscovering, re-loving my hair. And so to watch it go from like this teeny weeny afro to under this wig, it is nice and full. It's been a journey, but I've learned to love myself more through my hair, you know, to see we have so many different textures and colors, and we can do our hair so many different ways. It's like whoever I want to be that day, I can be that day.
No.
And then I could change and I can do something else. It's amazing.
That's right. That's right. And you know, when we recognize that, there's also like it's a story of like not just, it's not a cosmetic issue, right? It's an economic issue because we have to make decisions about our hair when it comes to work. And as the group that makes the least amount of money in the entire country, you know, we ain't gonna let our hair be the hindrance. We got other hindrances. And so if y'all say we gotta have our hair straight, we gonna figure out a way to have our hair straight because we gotta feed these babies. You know what I'm saying? You know, when Black kids go to school, I don't know how you felt when we watched the young man that was the wrestler get his locks cut.
That made me so sad and mad. Ugh.
Like, you can't participate in the sport because they don't like your hair.
Right.
You know, our babies can't graduate because of hair. Like, you know, and they, you know, to discuss it as just a cosmetic issue. If it was just a cosmetic issue, then it shouldn't prevent
us from being able to live our lives and to do things and participate.
Like, that's a little BS.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's an education issue too. You know, we like you said, you know, your hair fell out, those chemicals, and we can choose to wear the chemicals. We all make the decisions that we want. I do all kind of, you know, bullshit decisions. I take things, do things. I know what the consequences are. You know, I choose. When I weigh my options, that makes more sense. And you know, the chemicals are not the healthiest thing for our hair. You know, but if Black women so choose to perm it, yes. But if we're choosing to perm it because we're trying to conform to a Eurocentric idea so that we can, you know, work and go to school and what have you, then it's a health issue, right?
Yes.
Then it's I'm making decisions about my health based on how I'm going to make money, which is also another area of, you know, BS. And so it gives us the opportunity to organize not just around our hair, but have conversations about why the hair is a thing, right? And so we did an incredible photo shoot with Gus Bennett, an incredible photographer here, photographed 200 Black women around hair over a 2-weekend period. And then Damien went to his secret lab and the first 3 shorts. And then we decided to go around the state and do even more. So we've traveled to Baton Rouge and Shreveport. And we were going to do the exact same thing, couple of shorts. And then Damien was like, no, we should put together a whole film. And I was like, a whole film? He said, we should string it all together. And, you know, when we were trying to get a Crown Act passed statewide, we brought a group of Black women to testify. And what this film does, Free to Be Free, that's how God created us, the story of House Bill 382. It didn't pass last year, but it tells a story of why we need it passed, how it didn't get passed, and what we need to do to get it passed in the future. And, you know, like I said, you know, it started off one place and it moved to another place. This film, Keerson, is now in 9 film festivals. We started interning film festivals in November of last year. So between November and now, we've been accepted to 9 film festivals, including a film festival in London, one in Toronto, and one in Paris. We won an honorable mention film festival in Los Angeles. And last week, while we were doing this, we found out that we actually won the jury selection for this film at the film festival here in New Orleans, Loyola Feminist Film Festival, which we will be at on Friday. So we'll be watching this film and having an incredible discussion with students and patrons across the city on the Black women in here. And so we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it. I'm really excited for everyone to see. free to be free. That's how God created us. And then afterwards, we're going to have a little bit of discussion, and we're going to have two special guests that are going to come on and have this discussion with us. So really excited for you all to see. Keerson, you haven't seen it, have you?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you're about to see it. I'm really, really excited for you all to see Free to Be Free. That's how God created us. The story of House Bill 382.
Not be the next cosmopolitan model, but I'm beautiful.
She always said, I don't want their hair to be all unruly and curly.
You gotta be clean cut and, have short hair.
So if I don't fit into that role, I can't accomplish the things and take care of my family.
I was told by my father, you're never gonna be able to get a job with your hair like that. This is the way God intended it to be.
And they can be natural and beautiful too, and people will accept them just the way that they are.
Activism centered around the freedom for Black women to wear natural hair. The basis of House Bill 382 is decades old, but it has gained momentum in the last 2 years locally, statewide, and nationally.
And now lawmakers are stepping in. California State Senator Holly Mitchell introduced the first law to associate hair as an extension of one's race, which is legally protected.
Terminated because of the way they choose to wear their hair.
This legislation would expand the legal definition of race as a protected class to include traits which are associated with race, including hair textures and protective styles, and ban hair discrimination in the workplace, school, and public housing, essentially eradicating race discrimination based on hair.
Black women all speak black hair. But despite its unique beauty, the heavy social, economic, and health implications that many Black women face regarding our hair has led to the need to pass ordinances and bills across Louisiana that protect those of us who choose to wear our hair in a natural hairstyle. I got the privilege, along with my crew, to listen to Black women and girls throughout the state. Sitting as their pupil, I got to honor each of their personal journeys while joyously weaving together our collective shared experiences.
I feel like I won't be able to get a nice job paying a decent amount of money. I have to fit a certain role to get a certain job with certain financial status.
The topic of hair discrimination has always been important, and the topic became even more important when Andrew Johnson, a 16-year-old high school wrestler, was publicly humiliated by a referee when he was told that his hair covering did not conform to the rule book, so cut your dreads or forfeit the game. This topic became important when Brittany Noble, a TV journalist who damaged her hair by flat ironing and hot combing every day, and then spent $700 to $800 on a hair weave, was told that her own hair did not embrace the professionalism of a TV anchor. I do not believe that a person should be discriminated against based on the way their hair grows naturally out of their scalp.
In a lot of instances, you get folks who are on this sort of spectrum. It's almost like seeing something that you've never seen before, especially within close proximity. A lot of folks will ask these questions that just almost questions the humanity of me as opposed to the type of hair that I have. It's almost as though the type of hairstyle that you have, especially with locks, it seems to minimize your humanity. I've had folks who've asked me about how often I wash my hair. I've had statements made like, oh, your hair is getting so long, are you gonna cut it? And my hair's really like right here, like jaw level. I'm like, it's
not that long. So some of the concerns that women face with natural hairstyles is, number one is acceptance. How is my husband gonna accept me? How are my friends gonna accept me? And especially, how is work gonna accept me? Is this appropriate? And really, I think that it boils down to, is this good enough of a representation of who I am? And I think that my goal and my drive is to help people to understand that you are enough just as you are. And you don't have to wait for permission, or you don't have to wait for someone else to confirm that or give you validation. Just own who you are, make it the best version of that, and show up in front of the world.
I like to change up my hair a lot. Like weird colors, all kinds of different things. But when I go into that business, I make sure to slap on a wig that's, even if I'm wearing a blonde wig, and you know, it's kind of like flowing, more straight. Because I'll be honest with you, there's a perception that you're supposed to look a certain way in the business and whatnot, and I don't want to scare people off, especially in the area that we live in. It's okay when the black girls come in, when the white girls kind of come in, they're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to buy this from this girl that's wearing these purple braids, you know, does she look professional? So just to play the part, I'm gonna be honest with you, to play the part, I'll slap on one of my short wigs or slap on something that maybe has flow.
When I started working for myself and I didn't have to answer to anybody else, I decided I was gonna lock my hair. And so that's what I did. I locked in, on New Year's Eve of 2019. And it has been wonderful. It has been freeing. When we're managing our hair, I think we're managing it for the Eurocentric crowd because they see it as unkempt, unkept, unruly. I actually have family who is mixed race, and their mother did not want the hair. She always said, I don't want their hair to be all unruly and curly. And that really just, hurts.
I went to architecture school, and there was this expectation that, whatever firm you go to work at, you gotta be clean cut and, have short hair. I came to this point where it's like, I wanted to grow locks, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, I don't care. Even, in commercials, you see what's expected and you see what's celebrated. You know what I'm saying? And so what's celebrated is expected. And until recently, this wasn't celebrated.
Say women, when they are concerned about the hair related to work, a lot of the times they don't want to draw attention to them that they didn't normally have. They don't want to be the topic of discussion in the office. They don't want to cause new meetings about new hair things. A lot of the times we just want to do our job. We just want to show up. We want to be the best selves, the best person that we can be for ourselves, for the community, for the job. And a lot of the times they're just concerned with, am I gonna get in trouble for wearing my hair, how my hair grows? Is this gonna be wild? Is this gonna, how is this going to look to other people?
And I know a question that a lot of people have is it professional, is it not? And the question I have for you is, what's the standard of professionalism? Is it straight hair? Is it curly hair? Is it a particular hair color? What is the standard of professionalism, and who is making that choice? And I propose to you today that locks are professional, cornrows are professional, braids are professional. All of those are very professional ways to have your hair.
I know right off the bat when they look at me, there is a sense of, oh, don't mess with her. That I have heard since middle school. Don't talk to Aaron. Aaron's mean. Don't do that. Aaron will get you.
When they see me, I want them to be like, oh, her hair is so pretty. I like the way she did her hair. And then go and copy the way I did my hair.
Being a diabetic and having high blood pressure and cholesterol and things of that nature, when you take the medication, they may fix that problem, but it also affects other problems. Some may not know that hair grows from within. So how natural, how healthy we are inside is what makes our hair grow out healthy. And if we're not healthy inside, and if the medication is altering how we feel inside, our hair is going to be damaged. So I think I'm taking in enough medication and chemicals rather than to add on more chemicals to my outside. So I'm just really wanting to be, since I can't be so natural inside because of the medications that I need, I want to be even more natural on the outside.
And I'm just outside, or I'm looking at people and I'm just greeting people, saying good morning, because the joy that I have within me makes me want to share it with everyone else. And I feel just being naturally me without all the attitudes, just really just brings joy to the world.
I want people to see a happy person, a beautiful person, a loving person. Just get to know me. So most times when people look at black women, they have their preconceived ideas. Oh, you must be angry, or can't have a conversation without an angry black woman. I want people to say we're all just unique and beautiful. Look at who we are.
Representative Newell, I've listened to all your presentation and all the witnesses, and what I heard running through the theme of everyone is that this is an African American problem that y'all are trying to address. And while none of the hairstyles offended me, neither yours or anyone else in here, what I'm really concerned about is discrimination on race. And I've never been a proponent of that. I'm a vigorous opponent of discrimination based on race and all the other protected classes that we have in our law. And as I understand it, we already have a protected class of race being discriminated against. And I think our laws already take care of this problem. And if a African American woman is discriminated in any way based on whatever they're using to discriminate against her, she's still an African American woman being discriminated against. And I think she should have a cause of action and potentially should win. So I'm not really understanding the reason for this, because we already have that protected class.
Thank you, Representative Freeman, for expressing your concerns. However, it's not protected. There was recently a court case where the defendant did try to bring in brought in action because she was discriminated against at work, and the judge determined that while an afro is protected, as I explained to you, the other different styles that flow from afros, those styles were not protected, and she did not prevail with that argument that you would think she could prevail with, be it because it's an African American woman and this is typically how she wears her hair, but she wasn't dismissed from her job because of her race. She was dismissed because her hair wasn't appropriate. It wasn't deemed professional. Locks are not protected. Twist outs are not protected. Dreadlocks are not protected. Our good friend, Representative Carter, he would have been protected our first session back after COVID. But all of us, we would have not been protected.
Some people are going to say that this is overreaching government. Now you're telling us what we can and can't do. But actually what I'm trying to do is allow Black people the same freedom in the workforce and in all of these other spaces that we're in to not be discriminated against because of the way that we wear our hair. Because this is the way it grows out of our head. This is the way God intended it to be. So why am I having to change the texture of it in ways that are harmful to my person just to assimilate to an accepted dynamic in the work world that was based on a European identity?
Ms. Sanders, would you please call the roll?
Representative Amade? No. Representative Robbie Carter? Yes. Representative Wilford Carter? Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Representative Miller, yes. 8 yeas, 7 nays.
Okay, with that.
Thank you very
House
much,
Bill
Mr. Chair and members. I appreciate your time and your consideration for this
House
bill.
Bill 382 is reported with amendments.
A lot of the times people who feel like they may be perceived as unprofessional or not good enough for a position because of their hair. They will resort to styles that actually tamper and damage the hair. Once our hair gets to a state where we feel like, OMG, what can I do with this? Our hair is the first thing that we see. It affects the mental state dramatically. To me, it's a traumatic experience.
Back when I was a kid, they used to wake us up early in the morning. You get in the kitchen and they do the hot comb. They liked the hot comb because the hot comb was very hot. You had to keep still, and they get close to your ear with the comb, and you'd be like, you're gonna burn my ear, don't move.
I never really liked getting relaxers. My hair, I remember the hot comb and the scars to prove that it had happened. And then, eventually, because my hair was really thick, my mom decided, well, we're just gonna relax it, it'll make it easier. And then, some years later, she was like, I never should have relaxed your hair. You had such a beautiful curl pattern.
That was a very painful experience then, but the norm was to have the long, straight hair as what was acceptable in society at that time. And from that point, all of my sisters and all of I, that's what we had done. My mom would press our hair.
As a child, my hair was natural, but my mother and my grandmother, they pressed it. And so we got the natural candy curls and the pressing, but my hair was just great.
I permed my hair because it was just tradition. It is what was done. It was the thing to do. I knew nothing else. And believe it or not, the family that I came from, you got this nappy head or you got straight hair. And if you had that nappy head, they're talking about you. And I had to find my own identity in myself and my hair. And believe it or not, you don't realize how much just the small thing, your hair, can really just make your personality shine and your character shine.
Natural hair is important to our history or your hair period is important to your history. It's important to who you are, simply because your hair makes you. It is a part of you. And even though, we love India Arie, I am not my hair. You are not your hair, but it's still a part of your image. It's still a part of your livelihood. If you can ask a woman right now, sometimes they might feel that their look is off simply because their hair is off. Sometimes we feel beautiful even more simply because we can have a natural face, but it's something about our hair. It's something about the way we might carry ourselves through our hair. And even now, before I got on here, I'm like, oh my gosh, what about my hair?
The world that I would want my godson Alec to live in is a world that he can set his own standards of who he is and how the world perceives him, and by the content of his character and who he is. So whichever way he is viewed or perceived by the outside, it's because of the actions that he has taken and the things that he has done.
If we address that full on, we would do ourselves a great service, and we would uplift so many people. We'd also, we would better ourselves by not ignoring the thing that's so ugly that we don't want to confront, but open the closet and, hey, these false perceptions are killing us. So that's what I would say.
Not passing the bill is allowing the involvement of the 1786 Teigen Law. The Teigen Law, for those unaware, is the law that required African American women to wear a scarf to make others around them feel comfortable, because African American women were able to adorn their hair with jewels and beads to perpetuate wealth and beauty.
With my natural hair, I believe that I am teaching my children how to love themselves the way that God created them, to show them that it's okay to feel empowered and love the hair that is growing out of their head the way that, God intended it.
As a parent, when our children enter this world, we all think that they are perfect. Mine is very perfect. We love every strand on their head, and we hope the whole world values them. And when our daughters emerge ready for prom with that perfect hairstyle, we're proud that we put this person into this world. Today, I'm joined by my daughter and my father, who's here. I'm joined by law clerks, I'm joined by women, and I can tell you that there are vast, I haven't met a Black woman in this state that doesn't believe in this, because we all have a hair story.
I had a lot of folks at the new job I had started who were seemingly like swayed. They didn't seem to trust my knowledge. I was working at a place where a lot of the exchanges that I had with customers were dealing with fixing their tech. So it would be like a lot of step-by-step processes and a lot of, well, you know, I've trained for this, so let me show you how it's done sort of exchanges. I would have lots of folks who would genuinely just stare at my hair while I'm holding whatever it is I'm helping them with. Like, no, don't, like almost like, hey, look, no, look up, look at this, don't look at that. I'm trying to help you fix your problem. And even after, for an instance, this is probably the one that stands out to me the most. I helped a woman for like an hour, and she just seemed so distracted, and it did not occur to me until after. I successfully helped her resolve her issue, but she was so distracted by my hair, and she was so distracted by, I guess, not having encountered a person in the locking process before, that even after our exchange and I fixed her problem, she had gone to another representative to tell them that I had not fixed her problem and that she needed it fixed. So I had wasted almost an hour of my time helping this woman resolve an issue that she couldn't acknowledge was resolved because she was too distracted by me.
How does that make you feel?
Any objection to the adoption of the amendment? There are no questions on the bill. Representative Newell moves final passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Those opposed vote nay. The clerk will open the machines. Members, vote your machines.
Michelle, yes. Michelle, Melinda, okay.
Vote your machines, members. Turner, no. James, yes. Jefferson, yes. Lacombe, yes. Hughes, yes. You through voting, members? Through voting? All right, close them up. 47 yeas and 47 nays, and the bill fails to pass.
I love my hair now. I mean, went through that ugly phase and everything, but it's like the more comfortable I am with it, I feel like the more compliments I get on it, and so the more confident I feel.
I absolutely love my curly hair. I love the versatility of my hair. I can wear it straight, I can wear it curly. I could pretty much do anything I want with it, and I absolutely love it.
I can change my hair up basically in a week. I'll have braids. I'll take the braids out. I'll have a ponytail straight. I'll put a big curly wig on. And the whole week, I don't care. And I walk out the door and I really don't care what anybody thinks because it's me and that's what I'm gonna do.
If I would have known then what I know now, I would never have put that first perm in my head. I've learned to appreciate my natural beauty. I appreciate it, I thank God for it, and I just love my natural hair. It's so easy to take care, it's so comfortable, and it's me, it's who I am. I wasn't born with the long straight, I was born with kinky hair and thick hair, so why not let it show?
That's how God created us. God created some people like this and other people like that. But God created you how you are, and your hair, you should adore your hair, because, I mean, that's what God put for you. That's what God made.
House Bill 382 did not make it out of Louisiana House of Representatives, but that defeat led to the emergence of something beautiful. What I saw over the past year was breathtaking. I saw the outline of a vision of a vibrant place, emerging impactful leaders, activated voters, advocates and educators that have the ability to move policymakers and galvanize the support to transform the social dynamics of Louisiana and the lives of Black women and our families. That was such an incredible moment watching that all over again.
I was like, it was like a roller coaster. Like I was like, ooh, and then lots of emotions.
Quite excellent.
All right, well, let me be great. I told everyone I'll be joined by special guests, and I have two. The brilliant visionary behind all of that work. You know, I had someone tell me the other day, the films. I'm like, yeah, you will see him. I promise. Damian D. Smith, he wears so many hats. So one hat, founder and creative director of Fortnite Rosalie Productions. Another hat, co-founder of The Tangle With Me. Another hat, creative director for all things Citizen She and Citizen She United. And also the mastermind behind these past. How many hours are we on now, Damian?
We are, I say, all together combined. Say hours. I think we're about hour 16.
Yeah,
16
like that. Hours.
Well, yeah.
Of actually sitting in front of the community. That's not the hundreds of hours that.
No. Not this is just on. This is on air live action. Engagement, but behind the scenes and everything that built up to create this wonderful event. Those are countless hours.
Countless hours. I'm gonna tell on you. I don't think he's been to sleep yet. So I'm also joined by my incredible baby. This is the youngest of my four, Cameron. Cameron is also a huge part of the inspiration of us even, navigating with hair as an issue. Also, if y'all ever hear me give a speech, this is my co-speechwriter right here. She tells me exactly what to say and how to say it, whether or not it's impactful or not. And when I do give speeches, she's usually right there at the bottom of the podium as my biggest cheerleader. So really excited to have this conversation. Damian does this great project called A Short Break, where we watch films and we get to interview the filmmaker. And so I'm gonna get that role a little bit and celebrate a short. I'm gonna go in the vein of Short Break, Damian. Do I have your permission to
go for it? Rock on out.
So this question is for both of you all. What does it feel like to watch that film? I mean, you from knowing the experiences that you had that we'll talk a little bit about, and Damian, you, because I know that when you and I first talked about doing some work, you had always wanted to do a film about Black hair.
Well, you know what? Yeah, exactly. So how it feels for me, hair has always been an issue for me, that I felt that it was always something that was plaguing our community, because it's you fighting against years and decades in some cases of programming that's the definition of beauty is viewed through this Eurocentric landscape, right? So something as in my opinion as important as hair is the first reflection of yourself that you deal with naturally. And if you're changing that, that's kind of, not if you're changing that, if they have control of that, then they have control of a piece of you. And that's my opinion about people's hair. And because it also is, it's an identifier for you. In some cases, you can identify what tribe some people come from and how they wear their hair and how they, process that they go through for, putting their hair in a certain way, in a certain manner. So that's why it's really important. And I feel that again, if you see something, say something. If you want to be the change you want to see in the world. So you got to use your skill sets to help amplify whatever stories you want to tell. So, and I always wanted, and so my skill set and my love of hair, combined is what helped get this story going. So watching it now is very unique. It's a very unique experience. I haven't seen it in a while because when you work on something so much, you got to step away. So it's a very unique experience, and I'm very interested to hear what Cammie has to say about it.
Yeah. I think, like Mr. Damien said, hair has been an important topic to me, and luckily I have a mom who lets me change my hair and do mostly whatever I want with my hair. I've had natural hair my entire life, and I had locks. I combed them out. Now I have braids. But living in a society where, yes, my mom supports how I choose to present myself, but society doesn't really, was hard. And when the hair bill came out, I didn't really understand why. And getting to go with my mom and trying to get this bill passed and doing all these steps made me realize how important my voice is, and how important, when I'm able to vote, how important my vote is. Yeah. So it's really cool to see the film, and it's really cool to be luckily being behind the scenes. So I'm really excited.
I mean, you were really behind the scenes on some of these shoots. You were actually carrying stands, and you were loading up and setting up the craft services. So yeah, you were really behind it. You were part of the production, actually. That's right. The credits ran down a little further, a little longer. So that was a really great experience. But it was, again, I just wanted to add in this real quick, but I don't want to hijack the conversation. But the stories that you hear that didn't even go in this documentary to its completion, some of those stories that was left out that we had to leave out, just you got to make a decision, are equally as powerful. And I wish we could have included them all. We might just pull out some testimonials and just put them out, because you got to hear, because these journeys and how your hair affects you is so much. Some of these, and on so many different levels. Like, I'm talking about judges, I'm talking about people, city council people, and then someone just having their own small business on how they are perceived, by the masses if their hair is a certain way. And it's because of how we have been programmed so far about how we receive, African Americans and how they wear their hair. We set, a lot of our culture is some of the biggest export America has. And it's funny on how they, how it's part of it is, how they want to manipulate and control your hair, because they know that export influences the world. So anyway, that's it.
That's real.
I'm off my soapbox.
But I love that you talk about the stories, and I love, Damien, that you bring in the emotional space the way it makes us feel. Because as we're navigating bills and policy, we feel like we have to talk only technical terms in order to get, things done and to feel like we are validated in the things. But the reality is like Representative Newell said, when you're bringing your personal experience there, it's influential, it's necessary, and we have to validate that. And speaking of validating that, Cammie has had some real feels, going to school. Cammie is one of, she goes to a school where she's not a whole lot of Black students, a whole lot of Black girl students that look like her and have her hair. And so there's a lot of emotion. I was similarly situated. And I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about the way the world perceives your hair, and how do you want the world to perceive your hair?
I feel, to be honest, I still do. I think a lot of people care what people think. I still do care what people think, but not much now. And going to a predominantly white school, and even now being the only Black girl in my classroom, people ask a bunch of questions on my hair. And I'm okay with asking questions about me, because that's how we learn. If you ask a question respectfully, I'll answer respectfully, but sometimes it wasn't always respectful. Sometimes people would treat me different because of my hair. And, when you are the minority out of the majority. Sometimes you'll feel secluded, isolated. And with my hair, when I had locks, people would always, I would try to explain to people, but it's hard for me to explain sometimes. And I'm just like, something you just gotta get. You just gotta understand it, And then it would make me question how much I know about my hair. Some people would ask questions and I wasn't fully able to respond. It's just something that I just had, or being like curling my hair and it taking all night, or doing something like that, something that they don't get. It'll be a little frustrating. And I got to a point where I just didn't really care. I combed out my locks all summer. And that was something I was really proud about. And some people ask questions about my hair, and it's respectful, and I'll answer it because I get really, really excited when someone asks me a question about my hair, and they're asking it in a way that they want to learn. And then even my teachers, they'll ask questions and they'll ask it in the way they want to learn. And I get really excited because you want to learn about me. But sometimes people won't say it in a respectful way, or say it in a way that they're trying to embarrass me. And that's not how I want to be perceived. I don't want to be embarrassed. And so I just don't respond to their questions. But I want to be perceived as smart and intelligent, and I want my hair.
Keerson, I'm interested to hear your thoughts and views about the film for one, and then also like somewhat of your hair journey and experience. I heard you touched on it earlier about how for your hair dropped down and was luscious. Then you cut it, you process. You're like, oh, I was listening. So yeah, do you mind?
Yeah, well, I loved the documentary. That was my first time ever seeing it. So I was just like up in the screen like this, like really into it. But my hair journey is kind of similar to Cammie's. I went to a predominantly white elementary school, junior high school, and my mom used to do the barrettes. Used to do the pigtails with the curls. And, everyone would be like, oh my God, Keerson, let me touch your hair. It's so cool, blah, blah, blah. And of course, all my friends were white, and I played soccer. So that's a very physical, sweaty sport. And with natural hair, my mom was just like, this is a lot for me to do and to do my hair. So we decided to get a perm. And I think that was in the 4th grade. My mom was like, let's try a perm. And so my hair went from like here, curly, to I got the perm. And then it got increasingly shorter and shorter and shorter until I had the Rihanna umbrella cut. So it was like shoom, and like right here. And that's when I said to my mom, I was like, I don't think I want to get perms anymore. I think I want to just let my hair flow. So that was about the 8th grade. And from the 8th grade to now, I have been natural, and I change it up very often. I'm like, I want box braids one day. I go get box braids, and then some days I want to make my fro bigger. So I put clip-ins in, and my fro is really big. And some days I'm like, I want to straighten it just a little bit. But my journey, it's really helped me to love myself more. Because when you don't see yourself being depicted, like being in elementary school, seeing all the girls with the straight hair, I wanted my hair straight. I was like, what, mommy, why can't my hair be straight? And to now seeing so many of my friends and the people around me, they wear their natural hair. I have friends that have locks. I have, my co-host Megan, she's natural. She's been natural her entire life. And so we constantly are having conversations about our natural hair and things that we do. And it's just really is connected me more to myself, more to my roots. And I love my hair. I love it.
I love that. And I'm loving this conversation so much. And I'm appreciating the vulnerability. Cammie, talking about the way she feels is, it was a big deal for her, to testify about that. in the legislative session, and she rocked it, she knocked it out the park. Keerson, I really appreciate your thoughts, and you answering that. And Damien, like honestly, like I just appreciate you consistently answering the call. I will say, I don't know if people know how crazy my ideas are. And then, people are like, oh, that looked dope. Like, I don't even know what ideates. And the answer every time I ask Damien to work with me on something is let's make it happen. And has stepped up to the plate more than once. And so just this combination of young Black girls and women and boys. We saw Malcolm earlier with Charm, the organizing Black women from all over the spectrum and Black men being right there at the center. One thing I appreciate too, Damien, and I just love that you touch on it, or just a little bit, is that we talk about this as an issue for Black women. It's really intentional that this bill reflect the needs of Black women, because ain't never been one out there that's just that was ours. But one thing that I've appreciated you and breath that you spoken into this is Black men. And the impact on Black men. And there's this reality that Black men and boys do not get very many opportunities to be vulnerable. Get not very many opportunities to be soft. And when I say soft, I mean like really tapping into how they feel about things. And so we have these conversations. But one thing I think that was brought up when you talk about the interviews, you pushed us to have these interviews with some Black men and boys, you being one of them, and really tapping into that space. Can we talk a little bit about that?
I mean, well, you know what? Hair affects, everyone, and I don't want to say equally, but everyone has a water pill to carry when it comes to dealing with hair, especially in the African American community, because one, that programming goes, both ways. It also programs, especially little boys to look at this type of hair as attractive, right? So especially if you're attracted to women, and you watch, they're programming you to say, hey, I want to see this type of hair, or this type of hair is what's acceptable for what I need, and which we all know is not true, right? It's how a woman wear her hair should be a reflection of how she feels and what she would like to do with it, and with no outside factors. And then when it comes to boys, we have a way, boys and men, I'm sorry, a way in which that we are conditioned to show up. Like for example, the young man that had to cut his locks to wrestle. Because just understand the negotiation before that, and how traumatizing that must have been to him. And then also his family and also his teammates. Everyone has to do this negotiation at this very high stake time for something that they've sacrificed so much energy and time and effort and their physicality to achieve and accomplish and to get to, and then to have to negotiate if this, if my hair is going to stop all this for my team. Just imagine the pressure that young man was under to assimilate so that he can achieve and him and his team can achieve. That's the real face of this situation that, is not often spoke about, in my opinion. So I think that we need to address, those things with our young men to have to deal with that, and why we wear our hair, and why back in the day, if we're really looking at the history of things, how we're looking at why men had conks, and why men were getting perms, why men were getting all these things, and the evolution of that. Because I'm pretty sure that hair evolution was parallel with a self-conscious revolution. The one thing I do know about men most of the time follow the path of least resistance. So if we realize that our hair is good and we ain't got to do nothing to it, we're gonna be good with that.
I love that. I also am curious, Cammie, when you were testifying at the legislature, because we brought a group with Dominique, she's on here, part of the fellowship. Her baby testified too. Her 7-year-old daughter, Carly, testified. Cammie testified. My dad testified. But it was actually, when you all saw in the film, when Representative Miller, who was the tiebreaker, of the bill. It was tied, and then he was a tiebreaker.
it was their testimony that actually got it over that hump. What was that like, Kimmy Cake?
I was nervous because I didn't know what I wanted to say. I wanted to know how it felt. It was a little bit scary being in front of all those people and trying to tell them why it's important. And I knew there were some people who didn't agree, and I was really nervous, but I talked to you and I talked to my grandpa, and you guys told me it would be okay. And so when I did, I felt really good because I just said what's off my chest to people who had to listen. And it just made me feel really good. So
Yeah, it felt good to watch. Damien, I'm going to ask this question. I already know some of the answer, but, we this weekend got to watch Detangling the South, episode 1. We got to mention a little bit when our conversation with Charm, who also happened to be and say, I did not know Charm's grandmother grew up in Pruitt-Igoe. So her grandma and your grandma were neighbors. And we talked a little bit about your film, Target St. Louis Volume 1. We talked about, we got to watch this one, Free to Be Free. And so very clearly, the vein that is worked in is around justice issues, but justice issues with a determined outcome, right? Why is it important to utilize film and, to not just put something out there that looks good and feels good, but with a desire to have a very intentional outcome? How important is that and why?
Two things. Okay, well, one thing I got to address for my grandmother did not grow up in Pruitt-Igoe. She was in the area, the north side area, within the target zone area of the situation. She would have something to say if they came up. So I want to make sure that that's clear. And then okay, so all the films that we spoke about and the docuseries, Detangling the South, Free to Be Free, the Target St. Louis Volume 1, all these stories came about as from a need that needs to be discussed, needs to be analyzed, needs to be unpacked, needs to be told. And that's the, if it's in a lecture hall, if it's in town square, if it's in a church, if it's in a synagogue, if it's anywhere where there's a gathering of people and need to get this information, that's where these stories originate and come from. And filmmakers' jobs and storytellers' jobs, jobs are to, especially in a documentary or docu-world, is to gather this information, put it in an entertaining and engaging format and way of disseminating the information and to resonate with the people. I keep my audience in mind when I'm doing stories in this manner, because that's who you want to talk to. That's who you're trying to engage and inform. So it's really important. We all know how important propaganda was. Look at how it was executed and used in World War II. Look at how it was used when you look at movies like Birth of a Nation, that was one of the most racist films you can find in this world. But it's also heralded as one of the Criterion films that's helped progress cinema. But it also upped the membership of the Ku Klux Klan exponentially. So you see what I'm saying? So that's how powerful media is and stories. Even if you want to look at that, look how important the Cosby Show was and how many people got into HBCUs. I'm just saying, like, you just look at what we intake and we digest as entertainment and storytelling. And that's where these stories can fall, where it can educate people, it can hopefully entertain people and engage folks to take some action. So that's how I feel how important these storytelling is, and especially storytelling told through the lens of social justice, social and civic engagement, what I like to call artivism. in which that, helps use your talents for, for a cause that can be, worthwhile.
Thank you for that. And interestingly, and this question is for you, Keerson, because Cammie's in the background. Cammie gets to navigate with me and Damien all the time because, like, she's part of production crew. And Damien and I know what our intent is when we talk about infusing art and activism and utilizing this as a strategy. How did it feel this weekend, watching everything that was put together? Like, how did it feel to be a part of a space and watching art and activism be merged and married together?
It made me feel so full. Like, with the pandemic, we haven't been able to really be a group, be around a bunch of people, like we've all been kind of in our own little world. And so to be able to see so many women that have been doing the work, that have been hustling, that have been, paving the ways for future generations to all be together in one room. Well, in different rooms, but in one space to just talk and vibe and to boost each other up. It has been amazing to be a part of. And I want to thank you again for inviting me to be a part of this, because this has been life-changing.
I love that.
I'm so thankful. Thank you.
Thank you, Keerson. Thank you so much for being a part of this and coming from Birmingham. Also want to thank y'all met my law students, especially Michaela, who's, like y'all learned, a little bit of a right hand in the last 3 years. Michaela's done quite a bit of work with me. So, you've gotten many emails from her. Just want to tell her thank you for being, working with and making sure that all the logistical pieces happened this weekend and with the fellowship and what have you. That entire team, Rebecca, Chanel, Loyola Law, for giving me those law students. Oh goodness, Packard for making sure that the fellowship happened, making sure that this conference was at the top of the list, Kellogg Foundation, Miss Foundation, Black Voters Matter, all made sure that all these pieces were put together. I really want to thank my children for giving up their mama a little bit. I want to thank Facebook, okay? Because Facebook also make sure stuff happens, and they would make sure that we were resourced and were a part of making sure that this event on Facebook was always, Dominique, thank you. I will say, I love this work, and there are times that I do question, myself on whether or not I should be the one in this space moving, because there's so many incredible women, and so I'm grateful for the moments that I get to be help put some of this together and uplift I uplift Black women, because I get to be a fan of my friends and my people. But of all the spaces that I really want to thank, I'm just going to reemphasize, I don't think people understand how much Damien has just sat there with me, and literally from day one, I give thoughts and dream, and it's one thing to say that sounds good. It's another thing to say I will help. It's something completely different to immerse time and space, put your own projects to the side, Damien, to ensure that Black women's voices that are heard, that we get things done, that bills get passed. And there's so many things, like, as much as people saw, there's so many things in the incubus right now. There's even more stuff that'll be coming out in the future, not just here, but across the South, across the world, Ghana, St. Louis, DC. I mean, it's about to be a thing. And so really, really thank you for being a Black man that loves Black women unapologetically and intentionally, and really shows the true beauty of who we are. I want to thank the audience, all y'all that rocked with us for 16 hours. Been a part of this conference, made sure that this is a thing. We're going to be boosting this. We're going to be making clips of everything. The panels will all be out there, teaching toolkits, the legislative guide. We also are going to have dinner and a movie virtual. Our fellows are going to be putting that together. Allies will be putting together, so y'all will see these films. When we have something, come and be a part of it. This is our shit, right? This is ours. We are starting a whole new paradigm, a whole new future, like Black folks out there, Black women out there, right? This is the beginning of something incredible and something beautiful, and we're going to do it collectively. We're going to do it together, because this baby deserves it. And babies like her deserve it. And she's going to build an even better world for generations to come. When Fannie Lou Hamer was driving in those back roads, you know, getting ready for Bloody Sunday, she wasn't thinking about herself. She wasn't even thinking about her children. She was thinking about her children's children. She was thinking about me. She's thinking about Cameron and then Cameron's children. And so that's the onus that's on us. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part. And, you know, let's get to work.